Great.
Let us know when you're good, Jim.
We're all set.
Okay. I'm going to call the meeting of the Municipal Building Commission for December 8th, 2021 to order at 5:31. And I think that everyone who's attending is here, so we don't have to do any roll calls. Is that correct?
Gail will be joining remotely, but we have a quorum here, so we're good.
Okay. So Jim.
I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay, Gail. Excellent. Just for the record, we have Ed, Jackie, Gail, Jerry, Andrew, Kelly, and me. All right. I guess Evan thinks that he should go first because he had the biggest project. So, Evan, why don't you update us in the library?
Sure, let me see about sharing my screen. All right, hopefully everyone can see this lovely pictures of our interior stairway down to the basement. So basically what I'm trying to show you is work completed since last month's meeting. This was one of the accessibility items with some new railings and new nosings and other things to make this existing stair from the lower level accessible and compliant. We had some panel directory work that was done. Although it's not reflected on the requisition that's before you for approval. This is an interior shot of one of our three missing windows that have now been installed. You can see some patchwork up at the ceiling there. Some exterior railing work. These are additions to some existing railings to make those compliant. Railings at the main stair and entryway. Largely this entrance unit had been installed, but previously did not have kind of final snap trim on that. That has also been completed, as has some of the caulking work around some of the existing windows and final painting. Here we see the balconies are actually installed. Last month they were lying on the ground. Here's a close-up of the installed and freshly painted balconies. And you ready for this, folks? I don't know how many years it has been, but here are our restored lampposts illuminated. And I want to say it's been at least 20 years since those lights have lit. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in the evenings. And then these are two of our three missing windows, the large ones up there, and then a close-up of the third. So a bunch of this work was not complete by the end of November, and actually got completed last week. But showing you the progress there. So with before this work, or with the work that's on the requisition before you this evening, and that rec is for just over $60,000. That puts us at 99% complete for the project, and has a $50,000 retainage for punch list and some of the other work, most of which has been now done as of last week. A good portion of that were these windows that were initially fabricated too large. And then there's some miscellaneous HVAC coordination with a fire alarm and controls piece that we are still chasing, and that's what that remaining amount of retainage is for there. Any questions regarding progress of the work?
Evan, it's not retainage. We released retainage, right? It's actually the schedule of value for that work that we're still holding on to?
Well, I think it's technically retainage, but we have reduced the retainage from the initial 5% down to the monetized punch list value. I think that's the technical way to state it.
That's correct, Jack. Yeah.
And so would you expect that at our meeting on January 5th that we will get a final requisition, or will the work not be finished completely by then?
That is our hope. There is some coordination issues that need to go on between the HVAC filed subcontractor and the fire alarm folks that are basically the library's existing fire alarm folks. It is somewhat beyond me that we've kind of gotten this far, but kind of the final commissioning and the engineer's final walkthrough had identified an issue with one of the rooftop units. While everything is functioning, and there is heating and cooling in the library as it should be, that final controls piece to meet design parameters and leave us with the systems in the way that we want to be. The fire alarm modules had been hooked up in a different way that did not allow that final work to go on. So yes, we hope that next meeting will be the final closeout requisition, but I wouldn't be surprised if somehow that did not happen given the holidays. But we did have a meeting with the HVAC folks, both the subcontractor, the engineers, the GC, and whatnot, and their charge was to get coordinated those things that they needed to, and to finish that work up. So that is what we are trying and hoping for.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, there were a couple of items that were outside of the contract. The elevator lockout and maybe some plumbing work. Have we completed those things?
No, we are still awaiting materials for the elevator work. So as soon as those are in, we'll get those folks scheduled into complete. The plumbing work, which included placement of a water meter, but also the hookup of a exterior hose bib, has been rescheduled a couple of times. I believe that it is scheduled for tomorrow, so we're keeping our fingers crossed that that can occur. And then once that is actually done, I will schedule the window testing that's also needing that hose bib for the water pressure test on that.
And if I remember correctly, Evan, there was an issue of some moisture in the roof, and I think that turned out to be good, correct?
Yeah, the roof was opened up. That was witnessed. The manufacturer Firestone rep was there. So all of that was verified and repatched and whatnot. So we have a good tight roof under warranty as we would expect.
Okay, commission members, any questions? Okay, do we need to go over any change logs, budget updates, soft cost logs? Or
Yeah, let me just quickly pull things up here. So this budget has remained unchanged. The only thing that is different on it is the adjustment numbers have been taken off because that was done last month, and we have no budget adjustments. So this is just as you had seen it, change orders 1 through 7, and those are, that is 7 is the final change order. So we have both a construction contingency and soft cost contingency that we fully expect to be unused at this time on the project. So a little over 1.1 million not expended, at least in those two categories.
so that,
relative to the team.
that will be money that, Evan, that we in essence will be not borrowing.
Right.
And so therefore, at some point when the project's finished, Jeremy, I assume the city council will reduce the bonding authorization. Is that what they do?
Correct. We have borrowed for all of the funds all the money that was out the door by June 30th of 2021. So our retained earnings weren't dinged on our balance sheet at the end of the year, or our free cash wasn't dinged on the balance sheet at the end of the year. And then the amount that we borrow in the spring to true up this project, whatever the difference between the 6.9 and that is, city council, municipal council will rescind the balance. Correct.
So
It's cost avoidance.
Instead of 6.9, it's going to be closer to 5.8.
Correct.
Congratulations, everyone.
Yeah, good job. Absolutely. So the change log, again, we've just updated that. Change orders 1 through 7. That total amount in change orders is $912,371.06. And then the changes outside, or potential changes outside of the contract, the hose bib work that we're talking about, the 4th floor elevator lockout. If you remember the plaster repair at the 2nd floor, we're still at least in essence holding or carrying that, and then some caulking at the granite steps. So I will be trying to coordinate with the caulking sub and see what needs to get done in order to caulk those granite steps and confirm the pricing, because I think that I think we've been given a number that is incorrect. I would expect caulking at the granite steps to be just a couple of $1,000s there. Any questions regarding the changes? Your change log.
Looks like
Soft cost
no
changes.
questions.
This
Yeah.
again remains unchanged from last month, and that soft cost contingency matches the overall budget.
Okay.
So we're in real good shape here, hoping that we complete and are able to do a final requisition for next month. Amount of $50,000.01.
And we might end up paying the plumber and the elevator company a couple other things, but okay. Any questions?
Just a question, Evan. With the caulking on the front stairs, with the winter coming, is there any issues if that work's not completed until maybe the spring? Is there any damage that can occur because the work's not sealed up? Or with water penetrating.
Yeah, we don't want water to get in and freeze, right?
Yeah, so the condition is no different than it has been for the last 50 years there. So one more season isn't gonna do anything for us. Certainly, if we can coordinate that work and have that done, during a warm weather stretch, we'll see if we can't get that done.
Okay, any other questions? Amy, anything you want to add?
No, I'm thrilled at how far we've come in the last year, and the project looks great. We actually have a board meeting here at the library in just a few minutes down the hall, so the board will get to see the lights out front, and no, we're quite pleased.
Very good. Thank you. Charlie or anybody on, or is it just you?
It's just me tonight.
Okay, good. All right, then, do we need to do anything else on this project other than pay some bills, Jeremy?
That's it.
All right, then we'll wait to pay the bills. Evan, you've recommended all the bills that are on here, BH&A and TRAC, correct?
Correct. That is correct, yep.
And Jeremy, you're satisfied with Evan's bills?
I am.
Okay, good. All right, then, thank you, Evan. Thank you, Amy. Let's move to Mark.
Great, thanks everyone.
Good evening.
Which project would you like to address first?
The roofing at the fire stations, thank you. So, 3 items to discuss or to update you. One is on the budget side. We're tracking to the budget for construction and or slightly better than the budget. We had approved a couple of, or I will say CDI had approved a couple of change requests in the field that saved money because they were a cleaner, easier, better detail, and that will result in some credits back to the city. So I can report favorably on the construction side of it. 2, at the headquarters, we are substantially or near substantially complete on the roofing project. That is that all 100% of the membrane roofing has been installed. Currently, today, they were working on final cleanup and working on perimeter edge caps and details. And the only thing we're really waiting for once they complete the perimeter edge cap is the roofing manufacturer's final inspection. They did the roofing of the headquarters in about 9 calendar days, or 9 working days, I should say. And today, they began transitioning over to Briggs Corner. And today they did all the roof drains. And starting tomorrow, weather permitting, they'll be starting on the actual roofing work per se. So they are on schedule to complete the projects, or the project at 2 locations, prior to the end of the year, which was always our open goal desire.
Certainly was. Will there be some change proposal requests that we need to act on? Have they submitted that stuff in writing yet?
No, they have not submitted in writing, which is why I gave the nebulous comment that we're tracking to budget or slightly better. Obviously, the change request will need to go through the architect and will be reviewed for its consistency with the contract documents, unit prices that were contained within the contract. And once we have validated all of those costs and expenses, we will then present it to you in the form of a formal change order, which I expect will be probably after requisition 1 and prior to project closeout, which I expect will, hopefully be able to do this entire project in 2 requisitions. One, the main requisition with retainage and the credit change order, and then a second requisition for just the retainage.
So we don't have a bill to pay tonight? It looks like we have CBI bills and bills for you, but no bill from the contractor?
That's correct.
Wow.
So any bill tonight would have covered work in November, and they didn't start in earnest till the kind of end of November. So the rec will cover November and December. That we get in
Okay,
January.
and so we'll be acting on that at our January 5th meeting?
That's the plan, sir.
And
I will say that they did mobilize on site just prior to the beginning of December. They had delivered all the material, but they had not yet submitted the AIA G702, G703 requisition form. And as such, there was nothing to present to them.
well, it's okay. We're happy not to pay the bill, but get the work done. Will they be looking for substantial completion as of a certain date?
Of course, I would imagine that both projects will have a substantial completion date sometime in December. It's a single project, although 2 locations. I don't expect that we're going to have I don't believe that the architect will issue a certificate of substantial completion in phases by building. I think that they'll do both buildings as of the same date. The edge metal and some of the other miscellaneous nuances and the final inspection would obviously be conditions precedent. So the edge metal, I'm not going to say it's on back order, but it will probably be delivered next week. And as such, hopefully the roofing at Briggs Corner will be complete at that time, and then they can just finish up all the details and get the substantial completion date aligned for both projects on the same day.
And so then will they be looking for one requisition to get paid everything they're owed in January? Or will there still be some punch list and retainage held?
Well, yes, obviously retainage will be held on the December requisition. And as I said earlier, I expect that this project will probably be handled in 2 requisitions. One will be requisition 1, which will be for all the work and materials delivered in both November and December, and then a second requisition that addresses the change order credit, hopefully, and the final retainage. So I expect 1 requisition in January and either a second one in January or a February rec.
Okay. Is somebody doing a punch list on the main headquarters roof at this point?
And not yet, but CBI is aware of the progress of the work, and they've already made 1 field inspection, both their structural engineer and their architectural registered roofing consultant, and they will be making another one when the contractor schedules the manufacturer's rep to come out and do the final walkthrough. So that the punch list will be generated at that date. I don't expect that there will be very many, if any, items on that punch list. The projects are very, very straightforward, and they have, as I indicated in the email to the contractor and architect today, they have executed the work with a high degree of professionalism, and I think the entire project team is very pleased with the outcome thus far.
Well, that's very good to hear. Anybody have any questions?
Before I move on to the gym flooring project, I will alert the commission that there was one incident on the project, and I don't want to call it an accident, but a employee of the roofing company did on the lowest roof that is above the kitchen area, while the joists were exposed and it was open to the inside of the building, a gentleman slipped through the joist opening getting trapped and not trapped, but fell through, damaging the inside ceiling, which they'll be replacing and repairing, and injuring his ribs. He took 2 days off of work and was back at the job site this past Monday. So we did have a lost work incident, which we never like to see. And I felt it important enough just to mention to you, a OSHA 200 report was filed, and the project moved on after a safety stand down.
Okay.
Transitioning to the two gym floor projects.
Yeah.
Obviously, we received a fee proposal from the NBC, recommended or highest ranked vendor. That fee proposal has been submitted. I reviewed it, sent a couple of comments to both Jeremy and UJAC for final negotiation with the vendor. And I saw that Jeremy today sent an email asking that the architect generate the B104 contract that was the standard form that was identified within the RFQ. So that is underway. Hopefully we'll have them on board after the mayor signs off, and we can go from there and begin the design process in earnest. I did give some feedback that the identified schedule left us no wiggle room, and I was hoping that in our response back to them that we could attempt to accelerate the design phase so that we had enough time to address any supply chain issues that may be out there in the marketplace to procure the flooring material as we get down the road.
Okay, Jeremy, where are we on the negotiation?
So we're well within our budget, kind of where we expected based upon construction costs, kind of a little bit higher percentage-wise than we see on other design contracts, but we're also talking about a smaller base, so we don't get really the economies of scale we see on larger construction projects. We are at $58,000. And as Mark said, we have a design development phase that's 2 months, December into the whole month of December, and the end date at the end of January. And we're already a week into December, so I'm hopeful that we can get something executed right away and get that finished by the end of January.
So, do you recommend the $58,000 fee?
I do. We have plenty of room in the budget, and I think a healthy contingency for our construction line item, and there's enough if we have any unforeseen conditions that $58,000 exists within our budget. So yeah, I'm comfortable with it. One of Mark's other comments had to do with reimbursables, so we'll just make sure that our city solicitor is okay with their reimbursable line and perhaps add something to their purchase order, but it doesn't seem out of the ordinary at all. And we had a fine time on terms and conditions in our last agreement with CBI. So I don't see anything in here that will trip this up.
So are we in a position to take a vote to recommend to the mayor that the contract with CBI be executed for $58,000?
I believe you are. I would recommend that you did, yes.
Jackie?
So moved.
Terry's not here. Who's going to be our designated seconder? Is that you, Ed?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Gail, did you say aye too?
You need to roll call.
Yep.
You need to roll call, because she's remote.
Just one remote we need to roll
Yes.
call?
Okay, so Gail said yes. Jackie?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
I say yes. Andrew?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Don't want to violate the open meeting law. All right, so nothing else then we need to do on the elementary school gym floors then, correct?
No, Mr. Chairman.
So will we have them appearing at our January 5th meeting, or will they want to come in and address us at our February meeting, whatever date that may be? I mean, when are we going to get an update from CBI on what they're proposing to do, and so we can bless it?
Well, yes, hopefully we can get the mayor's signature and get the contract in place and have them attend the January meeting. Their participation at the meeting would be subject to having a contract in place. So to the extent that we can get that done between now and the January meeting, I would say yes, they should be invited. If not, obviously it would have to be deferred until the February meeting. We have previously advised CBI that we're looking for a direct replacement for the existing material, and it's their fee and project schedule is based on that direct replacement. So at some point, and I guess I'd like to ask the permission of the MDC to work with the end user group and the school department, and specifically Mark Furtado and his group, in order to review the submittal or review the recommendation for the replacement flooring.
You mean what the material itself will be?
And the pattern and its visual appearance.
Yeah. Certainly we would want the school department's input on that, so please do your thing. And I think that what you were referring to earlier was that there had been a suggestion that maybe we could cover it, and I don't think this commission had any taste for that based on our last meeting.
No, we're based on our budget.
Right. And, well, let me say this. When I brought up the ASTM standard F2272, I think is the number, they then had an aha moment and said, yes, we can't cover it. So the plan is for full removal and for scarifying the existing concrete substrate, filling in any cracks that may exist. And so I've been working with them to use best practices in order to create a proper substrate to adhere the new material to, and then go from there.
Okay. Any
So
questions?
we'll be reporting out on progress, not necessarily doing what would be called a programmatic or a conceptual phase.
Okay. Any questions? All right, then.
So before I go, Mr. Chairman, I guess I'd like to share the screen and show you a couple of photos of first of all, this is the headquarters building on the left and the Briggs Corner on the right.
Yeah.
And this is what the old roof used to look like. It was a stone ballasted roof on top of a membrane. And a couple of days ago, this new rubber membrane was its replacement. On the upper roof over the sleeping quarters and the living area, this is what the old roof looked like, and now the new roof is in place. I know that these are scintillating photos. The C roof over the maintenance bay and the new C roof, and I guess the first time it rains, it'll get cleaned off. And I was talking about the edge metal. So at the headquarters, edge metal is in progress at these locations. And then at the Briggs Corner area today, they are fully on site. The dumpster is here, their crane is here, the work platforms are up here, and they were able to do the roof drains today. So I just wanted to give you some visual documentation that the project is as represented.
Excellent. Thank you. Anything further you want to present tonight?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you so much.
Okay. Happy holidays, and we'll see you in January.
Thank you, and thanks for paying the bills. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Take care.
Before we get to paying the bills, Jeremy, the Attleboro Pawtucket Interconnector.
Yeah, I just made a note on here. apologize for not adding it. So in advance of this meeting, I reached out to CDM Smith and said, you gave us a timeline that I shared with the commission a month or so ago, and said, can we get any updates on that? And the only update was that the first step, which was CDM Smith performing review and submittal, got pushed back a month. Which I took to mean we've made no progress. They've made no progress in the last month on our behalf. So plans that were submitted to them, reviewed by the water department, plans submitted to the water department by CDM Smith, then reviewed and revised, sent back to CDM Smith, have now been with them on what was 2 weeks and is now 6 weeks. So it continues to be delays on their end. The total project end date is still in the fall of 2022. But if the last 6 months have been any indication, I don't know how much is to be believed.
They continue to frustrate us.
Yes.
Okay, and then for the potential public safety building, the mayor sent down a request to the council. It's in Peter Blair's committee. Peter has requested that Jeremy and I and the two chiefs appear before his committee next Tuesday. So that will be must-see TV on Channel 98 for all of you, I'm sure. So hopefully we can explain to the council the need to begin the feasibility study for this project. And I don't know whether that will be voted on before you change hats. But occasionally you're going to get phone calls from people lobbying you about all sorts of things. So, but you probably knew that already. So, in any event, I think other than paying the bills, Jeremy, is that all we have to do?
That's all I have.
You also have to approve the minutes. Yes.
Oh, that's right. We have minutes. We never approved the minutes.
No.
2 sets of minutes, November 3rd and November 22nd. Anybody have any questions or comments? There a motion?
Move to approve both.
Second.
Thank you. Guess we'll take a roll call vote. Jackie?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
I vote yes. Andrew?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Gail?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so we have a number of bills to pay. We have the track application 13 for just over $60,000. We have 2 for STV DPM for $7,000 and $4,600. We have a bill for BH&A for $1275 and another one for $440. We have a fire department roof bill for Mark for $4,200. Another one for $1,200 for Mark for the gym floors. A bill for CBI for the fire department roof for $92.95, and another one for $26.25. You recommend all of those, Jeremy?
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out a piece on timing, because we see 2 from STV and 2 from CBI.
Yeah.
The STV came in on 11/8, so that was after our November 3rd meeting, and then their next month came on 12/6, so before this meeting. So we have 2 months worth on this one just because of timing, and same thing with CBI. Even though they're dated in the 10/27 and 11/23, I don't get them till about a week after that. So it's a function of us being early in the month. We sometimes don't get their invoices in time, but now that we're a little bit later, we have 2 months worth.
Okay. Any questions or comments? So we'll take a roll call vote.
Move to approve.
Oh, yeah, that's right. First we got to do that. Thank you. Okay, now Jackie.
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
I vote yes. Andrew?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Gail?
Yes.
Okay. So, January 5th is our next meeting. We will have one fewer member at that time who is moving on to bigger and better things in the municipal council. Thank you, Kelly, for your service.
Thank you.
We're sorry to lose you, but we're happy you're moving to a better place.
Well, I'll be seeing you at a future city council meetings, I'm sure.
Occasionally I appear before the city council, yes.
You'll probably see him more.
Yes.
Yeah. So, thank you again for your service. I guess, anybody have anything else, or are we ready to adjourn at 6:10?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call vote. Jackie?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
I vote yes. Andrew?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Gail, yes. Right?
Yes.
Thank you. It's unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and have a happy
January 5th,
holiday.
He said.